In this video, I'm going to show you the routine of life. The life-changing routine. Powerful routines that made all the difference. Key routines that shifted my life completely. The 7 routines that changed my life and can change yours. So I urge you, stick and watch this video till the end, because your life will change by the time you finish watching. Let's go. The worst trap in life is waking up at 65 and realizing you spent your whole life working on the wrong things, on everything but yourself. Because success isn't something you chase, it's something you become. In this video, I'll walk you through 7 powerful habits that have transformed my life. Habits I live by every single day. And at the end, I'll share a practical formula you can start using tomorrow morning. Real success defies simple logic. It's not what you see on the cover of a magazine. It's not just money, not just status, not a fancy car, not owning a business. Real success is when you look in the mirror and feel a deep sense of inner strength, knowing you're not a product of random circumstances, you're the author of your life. But here's the problem. Success doesn't shout. It doesn't knock on your door. It doesn't send letters or hold up signs. Failure does. It screams, through anxiety, through bills, through fatigue. And if you don't train your mind daily, failure will take over before breakfast. I used to wonder, why do smart, sincere people with dreams struggle, while others seem to attract opportunity like a magnet? The answer wasn't in books. It wasn't in motivational quotes. It was one law that changed my life. You become what you work on every single day. I've said it before. Don't wish life were easier. Wish you were better. It's not just a quote. It's a mindset. I was once 25, broke, ashamed, an empty fridge, a mountain of debt. I felt like I was losing. But I had one thing, an invitation to a seminar. I wasn't planning to go. No time, no money, no belief in myself. But deep down I knew if I didn't start working on me, I'd stay stuck forever. At that seminar, I heard a man named Earl Shoaff say something that hit me like a bolt of lightning. Success is not to be pursued, it is to be attracted by the person you become. From that moment, I stopped waiting for life to change and started changing myself. What followed were 7 daily habits, not magic tricks, not trends. These are principles, tested by me, proven by those I've coached, used by people who've turned failure into victory. As they say, success leaves clues, and today I'm going to leave you those clues. Routine 1 is own your inner world. Before you scroll, before you check your phone, before the world speaks, train your mind. Because in today's world, if you don't control your thinking will control you. Thoughts are commands. Each one is like a seed. It either builds you or breaks you. Have you ever thought, I can't do it. I'm not like them. I'm just unlucky. That's not the real you. That's programming. That's conditioning from your past, not your future. Here's the truth. The brain defaults to safety, not growth. It clings to the familiar, even when it's painful. We're not born to thrive on autopilot. We're born to wake up consciously. Earl Shoaff once told me something I'll never forget. The mind is like a garden. You either cultivate it or weeds take over. And I'll be honest, mine had a lot of weeds. Doubt, fear, distraction, noise from the world, and noise from within. So I started small. 15 minutes of silence every morning. No phone, no news, just me, and the space between thoughts. Then I added reading, not social posts, real books, books that challenged me, books that fed my mind instead of numbing it. Then came journaling, asking myself questions I used to avoid. What am I really thinking about today? Is this thought helping me or hurting me? Am I living by design or by default? That's when everything began to shift. Because here's what no one tells you. You will never rise above the quality of your thoughts. You can win money and lose it again if deep down you still think like someone who's broke. You can fall in love and destroy it if your mind is full of fear, insecurity, or suspicion. Mindset isn't fluff. It's your life's operating system, and it needs daily updates, not yearly rescues. You don't become powerful by accident, you become powerful by design, and that design starts inside, right here, right now. So before the world speaks, before notifications pull you in 20 directions, take back your attention. Because every single morning, your mind is asking, who's in charge here? And if you don't answer that question, the world will. Start small. Silence, stillness, a moment to breathe before you begin. Even just 5 minutes a day, consistently, can begin to rewire your default. Because most people are so busy doing, they never stop to check what they're believing. Don't let thoughts go unchecked. Don't let weeds grow wild. Your life reflects your mind. You can upgrade your outer world only by mastering your inner world first. And it all starts before you scroll, before you check your phone, before the world speaks. Train your mind. Routine 2. Act without waiting to feel ready or motivated. Motivation gets you started. Habit keeps you going. But even before habit, there's something more important. A decision, a simple, quiet decision to act. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when every cell in your body says, not today. People say, I know what to do, I just can't start. But that's not a motivation problem, that's a thinking problem. Because the truth is, action isn't something you wait for, it's something you choose. And inspiration, it doesn't come before action, it comes after. You move, and then the energy comes. You start, and then the momentum builds. You act, and then the mind catches up. I remember a time when even waking up felt like a battle. No energy, no focus, no purpose. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the spark to hit me. It never came, until one morning I just got up anyway. Not because I felt like it, but because I was tired of waiting. I realized discipline is the foundation of all success, not talent, not luck, not motivation. Discipline, the willingness to act, especially when it's hard. Here's something brain science confirms. Action rewires the mind. When you move your body, your brain responds. It shifts out of survival mode. It stops being the victim and starts becoming the creator. It's not about doing everything. It's not about being perfect. It's about doing something every day. One decision, one step, one action, even a small one. Because action creates clarity. Action builds confidence. Action trains your identity. You become the kind of person who shows up, not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient, when it's raining, when you're tired, when the excuses feel valid. That's where the growth lives. Not in the moments of hype, but in the quiet choices no one sees. Let's be honest. Most people are waiting for a feeling that may never come. They're waiting to feel ready. They're waiting to feel brave. They're waiting for the perfect time. But life doesn't wait. Opportunities don't wait. Your potential doesn't wait. And every day you hesitate, you build the habit of hesitation. But every day you act, even imperfectly, you build the habit of courage. You train your brain to respond instead of retreat, to move instead of stall, to lead instead of wait. And yes, some days you'll still struggle. Some days, the voice in your head will say, what's the point? You're not good enough, maybe tomorrow. But you can train yourself to respond with this. I'll start anyway. I'll show up anyway. I don't need to feel ready, I just need to move. And you do. You move. You show up. You prove to yourself again that you're not a slave to how you feel. That's power. That's freedom. That's what separates people who stay stuck from people who rise. You want to change your life. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a pattern of action. Start the workout. Write one sentence. Make the call. Clean the room. Take one step toward what matters. Because the moment you start moving, you start winning. And no, the feelings may not follow instantly, but the alignment will. Your identity will begin to shift. You'll stop saying I can't. You'll start saying I did. And then I do. That's how confidence is built. Through repetition, not inspiration. So if you're stuck right now, if you're waiting to feel better, feel stronger, feel motivated, stop waiting. Choose action, any action, small, simple, consistent, because you don't need more motivation, you need momentum, and momentum comes from motion. Move now. Think later. Train yourself to act, especially when it's hard, and you'll become unstoppable. Routine 3 is prioritize with purpose. Prioritize with purpose, spoken slowly with intention. The hardest part in today's world isn't starting, it's focusing. Every app wants your attention. Every ping feels urgent. Every screen pulls you away. From what truly matters, focus is rare. But focus is power. Focus is clarity. In the middle of chaos, it's the ability to decide this matters, that doesn't, and then act like it. Most people don't lose their day to laziness, they lose it to distraction. And here's the trap. You wake up, you open your phone, boom, the world starts talking. Notifications, messages, headlines, noise. Before you know it, you're reacting, not leading. You're chasing, not choosing. That's why real focus starts. Before the day does. Plan your day before your day plans you. Before the world speaks, take 5 minutes and ask yourself, what are the 3 most important things I must do today? Not 10, not 20, just 3. Because here's the truth. Focus isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. The rest is noise. You don't need to respond to every message. You don't need to finish every task. You need to move the needle in your life, on the things that actually count. It's not about being busy, it's about being effective. And here's a powerful truth. Every yes to something unimportant is a silent no to your future. I used to try to do everything, every project, every request, every opportunity. It made me feel productive, but deep down I was scattered, tired, unfulfilled. I wasn't moving forward, I was spinning in circles. That's when I learned the power of essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less, but better, because doing more doesn't create success. Doing what matters consistently does. Each night before bed, I created a ritual. Write down the 3 most important outcomes for tomorrow. Not hopes, not maybes, non-negotiables. I called it my power list, because it wasn't about effort, it was about impact. And over time, I started noticing something. When I focused on the right things, I felt lighter, more energized, more in control. Not because I did everything, but because I did the things that mattered most. And here's what happens. When you build this routine, your mornings become intentional. Your energy has a direction. Your time serves your goals, not the other way around. You stop being reactive. You start being powerful. And your confidence grows. Because you're no longer drowning in tasks. You're building a life with intention. Let me ask you, how many times have you ended a day feeling exhausted, but unsure what you actually accomplished? That's not a time problem. It's a clarity problem. Because productivity isn't about speed. It's about purpose. Purpose gives your time meaning. It gives your actions weight. It turns ordinary days into meaningful progress. So start small. Tonight, before bed, write down your 3. Not your to-do list, your must-do list. The things that will make the day a win, no matter what else happens. And tomorrow, attack those 3 first. Before emails, before distractions, before the noise gets in. Because if you don't tell your day where to go, it will go somewhere, but not where you want. Remember, you don't need more hours. You need more intention. Say no to the distractions. Say yes to the priorities. Not someday. Today. Because your future is shaped not by what you do occasionally, but by what you do on purpose. And purpose begins with focus. Prioritize with purpose, and the day becomes yours. Routine 4. Surround yourself with growth. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not just a quote. It's not just a metaphor, it's your reality. Look at your circle. Look at the voices in your life. Who do you hear from the most? Who do you spend your energy with? Do they uplift you or drain you? Do they speak life or feed doubt? Do they challenge your limits or justify your excuses? Because you become what you're around. Slowly, subtly, but certainly. I once heard someone say, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future." At first I brushed it off. I thought, I'm strong enough to rise above my environment. I can grow no matter who's around me. But over time, I realized that's only half true. Yes, your growth is your responsibility, but your environment either fuels that growth or fights it. And you can't grow consistently in toxic soil. So I looked at my circle. I asked myself the hard questions. Do these people talk about ideas or about people? Do they push me to evolve or pull me to stay the same? Are they dreamers, builders, believers? Or are they stuck in cycles of gossip, fear, and comfort? It became clear. If I wanted to change my life, I had to change my environment. And here's the thing, you don't have to cut people out with drama. You don't need to announce a separation. You simply start choosing who gets access to your energy. Spend more time with those who make you feel alive. With those who challenge your thinking, who don't let you settle, who talk about vision, discipline, books, ideas, faith, purpose. The right people remind you of who you are and who you're becoming. But it's not just your physical circle. It's also your digital diet. What do you watch? What do you listen to? What do you scroll through when no one's watching? Because your brain is always learning, always being shaped. Even when you're just relaxing, you're being programmed. So ask yourself, does your content feed your future or poison it? Do your playlists energize you or numb you? Do your feeds inspire discipline or distraction? If your screen time is filled with comparison, with outrage, with nonsense, don't be surprised when your life feels anxious, scattered, or stuck. Your environment isn't neutral. It's either pushing you forward or pulling you back. There is no standing still. That podcast you listen to on your commute, that video you play before bed, that person you message every morning, it's all shaping your mindset. Every single input has an output. So be ruthless about what enters your world, because it becomes your world. Want to grow faster? Surround yourself with growers. Want to level up your thinking? Be around people who think bigger. Want to be consistent? Spend time with the disciplined. This doesn't mean you abandon people who are struggling. It means you prioritize influence. You lead by example and let your growth invite others forward. I've learned that the right people don't just motivate you, they mirror your highest self. They call it out of you. They see the greatness even when you forget it's there. So if you've been feeling stuck, unmotivated, confused, uninspired, maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's your atmosphere. Maybe it's time to clean up your space, mentally, emotionally, socially, digitally, and begin again. With intention. Start simple. Curate your content. Mute what drains you. Follow what lifts you. Reach out to one person who inspires growth and spend more time with them. You don't need 50 new friends. You need 5 powerful influences. People, podcasts, books, content, mentors. That's enough to shift your average. And when your average shifts, your reality follows. So remember this. Your environment is either feeding your future or starving it. Choose wisely. Protect your mind. Build a circle that breathes life into your vision. And surround yourself, not with comfort, but with growth. Routine 5, feed your vision daily. Vision isn't a dream. It's a decision. A conscious choice to see beyond what is into what could be. It's not about fantasy. It's about focus. Vision is your inner lighthouse. It keeps you steady. When life feels unstable, it keeps you moving forward, even when everything around you says quit. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they lose sight. They forget why they started. They get busy and blind. That's why your vision must be fed. Every single day, take 5 minutes. Just 5. Close your eyes. See your future. Feel it. Own it. Walk through it in your mind. Picture the life you're building. See the habits. See the impact. See the peace, the purpose, the power. Feel the emotion of already being there. Because if you can feel it, you can move toward it. I used to ignore this. I thought vision was something you write once, on a whiteboard, something you revisit once a year. But that's not enough. Vision fades. Fog creeps in. Distraction steals your direction. And you drift, not because you're weak, but because you're human. So I created a new routine. Before the world speaks, I speak to myself. Before I chase goals, I reconnect with why those goals matter. I take 5 minutes and replay my vision like a movie. And I remind myself, this is what we're fighting for. This is where we're going. This is who I'm becoming. Because when the promise is clear, the price is easy. Discipline gets lighter, sacrifice makes sense. Pain becomes part of the process, not something to avoid. When you see the future vividly, you stop asking, is this worth it? And you start saying, let's go. But when you lose that vision, you drift, you stall, you get stuck in loops, chasing comfort, craving clarity, questioning everything. That's why daily vision isn't fluff. It's not just motivation, it's mental alignment. You're reminding yourself who you are, what you stand for, where you're going. And you're training your brain to walk in that direction, even before the world catches up. So how do you do it? You don't need music, you don't need candles, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to stop for 5 intentional minutes. Close your eyes, block out the noise, and walk through your ideal future. Where are you? What do you look like? What do you feel like? Who are you helping? How are you living? What are you proud of? Let it become real. Not someday, but today in your mind. Because your mind is the workshop of your reality. Every great achievement began as a vision, a seed in the soul, watered by daily belief. It wasn't random, it wasn't luck, it was rehearsed. Champions rehearse the win. Creators rehearse the moment. Leaders rehearse the breakthrough again and again and again. So when it shows up in real life, you want to be ready? Feed your vision daily. Vision without action is fantasy, but action without vision is fatigue. You'll work but feel empty. You'll push but lose direction. You'll wake up one day and wonder, why am I even doing this? But if your vision is clear, that why will carry you. It will energize you when motivation dies, it will guide you when emotions shift, and it will remind you that every step matters. Don't live in a fog, don't move through life aimlessly, create clarity daily, because clarity is fuel. Start your day with vision, end your day with vision, and protect your vision. From anything that tries to dim it, guard it from negativity, from comparison, from distraction, from small thinking. This is your future, and it's worth protecting. So today, before you open your phone, before you check your to-do list, pause. Feed your vision. Because vision isn't some luxury for the successful. It's the map for those becoming successful. And the ones who make it aren't the ones with more talent. They're the ones who stayed connected to the picture every single day. Routine 6 is capture your lessons. You don't remember what you don't record. Your brain isn't a filing cabinet. It doesn't perfectly store everything. It's more like a radio, constantly tuning in and out of different frequencies. Ideas come, ideas go, and most of them disappear unless you capture them. That's why this routine matters. Capture your lessons daily. Think of all the insights you've had, the breakthroughs, the quiet realizations after a hard day, the advice someone gave you, the small win that made you proud. Now ask yourself, how many of those are written down? Because life is speaking to you every single day. But if you're not listening with intention, you'll forget what life was trying to teach you. That's why I started journaling. Not for perfection, not to write a novel, just to slow down and pay attention. Every day I ask myself 3 simple questions. What did I learn today? What did I do right? What can I do better tomorrow? That's it. 3 questions, 5 minutes. But the results? Life-changing. Because writing brings awareness, and awareness brings power. Most people move through life on autopilot. They feel stuck, but they don't know why. They keep repeating mistakes, and they wonder why they're not growing. It's not because they're lazy. It's because they're not paying attention. Reflection is what separates growth from repetition. You can go through the same day 1,000 times, or you can extract the gold from each one. The difference, whether you capture your lessons. Sometimes the lesson is obvious. A mistake you made, an argument that taught you patience, a goal you didn't hit, and why. Other times it's subtle, a moment of peace in the middle of chaos, an act of kindness you gave without thinking, a habit you finally followed through on. Big or small, it matters. Because the act of writing it down makes it real. You don't have to write pages, you don't have to make it poetic. You just need to stop long enough to notice. What did life show me today? Where did I grow? What needs attention? Most people wait for breakdowns to reflect, but the whys reflect every day, so the breakdowns never have to come. Let me tell you what started to change when I committed to this. I began noticing patterns. I stopped repeating mistakes. I started seeing small wins I would have ignored. And most importantly, I began trusting myself more. Why? Because I wasn't guessing. I was tracking. And when you track your lessons, you start to realize just how much wisdom is inside of you already. The act of capturing lessons builds self-respect. You're telling your mind, what I experience matters. What I learn is worth remembering. My life is worth recording. And that belief alone can shift your identity. Because when you start living like your thoughts matter, you start thinking more clearly. When you live like your habits matter, you become more intentional. And when you live like your days matter, you start building a life that matters. Journaling isn't just a habit, it's a mirror. It reflects who you were, who you are, and who you're becoming. It gives you perspective, it gives you memory, and it gives you momentum. Because progress you track is progress you can trust. Here's the truth. You won't remember everything, but you don't have to. You just need to record what matters most while it's fresh. That insight you had in the car, that breakthrough after a workout, that emotional moment that taught you something deep. Don't let it vanish. Capture it. Even a single sentence can become a roadmap later. You don't need to write every detail, you just need to start. 5 minutes. 3 questions. What did I learn today? What did I do right? What can I do better tomorrow? Do it daily, not just when you feel like it, but when it's inconvenient. Because that's when the deepest insights often come. And remember, a life worth living is a life worth recording. Don't let your growth go unnoticed. Don't let your days blur together. Reflect, write, capture your lessons. Because your life is trying to teach you something. And if you'll listen, you'll rise. Routine 7. Always try to finish anything you started. Starting feels good. That rush of excitement, the burst of energy, the thrill of possibility. But finishing builds identity. Because when you complete something, no matter how small, you send a message to your brain. I am reliable. I am capable. I follow through. Unfinished tasks do the opposite. They drain your energy. They erode your confidence. They clutter your mind with guilt and doubt. Look around. Are there small things you started but never finished? A room you began cleaning but didn't complete. A phone call you've been avoiding. A promise you made but haven't kept. These small unfinished things, they add up, and they silently shape your self-image. That's why this habit matters. Finish the small things, because, as the saying goes, how you do anything is how you do everything. Your habits of completion or lack of them reflect in every area of your life. Action without completion? That's just noise. Busy work without meaning. But finishing is power. Finishing is proof. So what's your unfinished task today? Can you take one small step to complete it? Can you close that chapter even if it feels uncomfortable? Even if it's not perfect? Because every finish line crossed builds momentum, builds confidence, builds identity. Your challenge starts now. You've heard the 7 habits. You've listened. Now it's your turn. Ask yourself, which habit hit you hardest? Where are you on a scale from 1 to 10? Which one will you start today? Because change doesn't start on Monday, not on New Year's Day. It starts now. Choose one habit, commit to it for just 7 days. 7 days of showing up, 7 days of action, 7 days of discipline. Then add the next habit and the next. Keep going until these aren't just habits, they're your identity. Because success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become. And who you become is shaped by what you do daily. The small actions you take every day, the tiny steps toward completion, the discipline to finish what you started. That's the secret, that's the difference. So today, ask yourself, what will I finish? What will I complete? What will I follow through on? No matter how small. Because when you finish what you start, you build a foundation. You build trust with yourself. You build a life of purpose. And that foundation, it will carry you further than any motivation ever could. Start today. Finish what you start. Build your identity, one completed task at a time. You've got this.